Alright then, so, let's get to it. We're gonna be continuing this trial. And also my Streamlabs is telling me that there's issues going on and I'm losing frames, so if anyone's in chat, let me know. I also have a backup recording just in case something goes wrong during this. So yeah, let's get to it. Oh, there you are, Otto. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina. You sure about what you said in there? That the boss, you know, actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear, if it was deliberate. It puts me in mind of the last case we worked on and Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zykes discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Redheaded League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Suze. And it was me who took him in. Thanks to a tip by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Redheaded League yet, had you? Why would the Inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Don't tar him with the same brush as you Sholmes. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zykes for some reason. The Reaper, the Redheaded League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zykes, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly. Yes, you're right. Alrighty then. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. And he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Are you ready, Mr. Sato? Yes. Alright then. Alright, let's keep going. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Barracks von Zykes, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asagi. My lord? Have you summoned the witnesses as requested? Yes, 2 members of the Redheaded League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage. Very good. Bailiff, usher the 2 men into the courtroom. Alright then. These 2 men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names for the court. For your court. I am Fabien de Rousseau, a descendant of the great Rousseau family from Nice, from Nice in France. And my name is Peppino de Rossi. I am the third son of the great family de Rossi, the landowners of Napoli. The two men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from the Temstic of the future leaders of Europe. But do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? Alas, I make my mission to get the better the world by employing the little grey cells in my brain. That is all I'm trying to do, So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception to be carrying out? Oui, you could say that. Not bad, eh? He has grand ideas with the petty plans. The strange combination is a charm of a hilarious brothers. See, capo? Listen to me, Peppino. I have two things to say to you. Eh? Che? You're about to tell me your grandy anecdotes? Viva! Firstly, I want you to stop calling me the capo. And secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Cepelo, there it is, the capo's trump card. A furrow brow. This is deeper, capo. The furrow the meaning of your words. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Redheaded League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oui, sister. And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud? Alors, I will explain it. No, capo, leave it to me. As you say, both of you have a thief to red hell, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse crying like a Trevi fountain. Where's those dogs? One day the world will respect those redheads. Every night he would bury his head in a pillow and weep a little. Sis, bien, Peppino, enough. I'll explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw the notice. It was this one, I believe. Entitled to the Redheaded League. Oui, c'est ça. I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair, and that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement, and from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money to France, it was a plan most elegant, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anyone was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folk, like a coaster's orange barrow. And the day on which these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these two men spoke face-to-face with every single person present that day. Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. See, and now, every time I see the couple hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for our trial is not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They're going to be shown this photograph. Very good. So, Mr. De Rosso and Mr. De Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony to the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are ready to help with the law. If you say so. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day. but I don't recall the man in his photograph. Eh, Capo? No, I don't remember him. Obviously he is dead now, but I assure you he was not in the park. Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. You've given sworn testimony that this man is the photograph, and the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oui, I am quite certain we did not interview this man. Now we're looking at like this came to the park. This can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for grand deception. However, accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances. Oh, fine, with this attitude, we get it over there, He's really a sulker now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Redheaded League, undercover. Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, no, eh? That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Redheaded League. Which means it's quite possible that when he was killed... that was when he was killed. Very well. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now. Yes, my lord. Alright then. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people in the park on Lime Street that day. Hold it! 1,000 people? That's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Redheads had come from all over the capital. See, the capital here, he has a magnifico animale, eh? Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino. The £4 per week. Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants? Oui, that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their names, and we take their money, and then we take their addresses as well. Then I tell them we take some days to let them know by a post of infinito, maybe 2 minutes a person. We start early in the morning and we stop late in the night. So you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. Who'd have thought that there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? How many is it? Like, it's like 5 shillings nowadays. That's like 0.45 in nowadays or something. I don't know. And so like 5,000 shillings. That would be the equivalent of like $45 today. In 1900, that would be about... Okay, that... Oh, okay, that... Whatever, that's just... That doesn't really matter. Anyway... who'd have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. I don't really recall the man in the photograph, eh, Capo? Hold it! He doesn't look at all familiar. No, I don't think so, and this is a wig, eh? He was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick other people. Says the con artist. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, senor. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems. Hey, Capo, you didn't see a man like this, huh? No, I do not remember him, and obviously he's dead now. I assure you he was not in the park. Hold it! But according to what you said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally the redhead is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around. That is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you've given us, maybe we could recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? If there was a man with a red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match his color, then I do not think I could have forgotten him. Kazuma said these two had only just been shown that photograph and they've been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed up just one other detail about the victim? For example... I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation, but what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really, I was only looking at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than caviar and smoked salmon. Or a spaghetti! Me, I love a spaghetti! Really, I had no idea. Tell us again what you said before, Peppino. Si, capo, si. So I say it again and again. Nah. Allora, this victim has nothing to do with that, sir. Hold it! But we only have your word for that. See, what else can we do, huh? True. Oh, fuck. We are not having a bunch of fun these days. Once we are arrested, then we are shot the horrible picture of a dead man. And now you question every single thing we say. We have the victims here. Eh, capo? No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people. You had to bring that up, eh? It's not fair. Eh, capo? You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It's your fault that we got caught in the first place. Hold it! What do you mean by that? Cavolo, you promised not to say it, capo? After we had taken all the money that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk to my companion here. But he brought them for the wrong day. Oops. See, it is an easy mistake to make, huh? The 31st. Oh, I have no sympathy for you. We're all a day late for the boat because of your stupidity. It's all because of the so-called great red-headed detective caught us. Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of God. It is a totally punishment, eh? Peppino, for the last time. This is not only punishment, this is only your fault. Ah, don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You're making me sick with anger. Maybe I make a mistake, but it's a pasta. No, it's a pasta. And I've seen the evidence. They haven't told us much we didn't already know. What do you think, Mr. Naruto? Well, if it was Inspector's diary, it seems likely that he must have gone to Lime Street that day. And yet, these two both claim they didn't see him. I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies. Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well. Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught. Well, yes, you do have a point there. It seems to me like we need more information. Definitely. Okay. Okay, I think it was this one that we have to... His profession. I could certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember the situation, but what if I told you that the man in his redhead hairpiece was actually a detective? The man who's a photograph, a detective. Like, yes. It would appear that he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, this changes nothing.
Excuse me.
Something to add, Mr. De Rossi? See, I am always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. And what I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? Eh? What did he just say about the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Filipino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. What? Good lord. Order! Explain this volte-face facing your testimony, witness. It's simple. A man who was at the park said to us was an inspector. There was no such man. Matai, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh? I have forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta! You beat me at the many things, but not to the memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a pasta. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up.
Objection.
Top rod, the damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. There was a man who came to the park and said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. It was something else. How can you be so sure? Because to start with, his face is completely different. See, it's true. The man who came was a younger. His face was clean shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thin. No resemblance whatsoever then. Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. See, the capo here, he doesn't like to take a no nonsense, eh? But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification? That is most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord? Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity? Clearly the papers were fake. Certo, Capo, you are a genius! In Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced he was a detective? I became very annoying. He said, you are under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastical! Hey look! Here's the identification! So he stole it from the man. He had it to comment. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was, Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identifications to be entered into evidence. But the lack of... Okay, let's take a look at these. Now, let's return to the witness's testimony. Okay, let's take a look at this. Metropolitan Police Warrant Card. Well, I suppose we should see what the inspector's identification looks like inside. Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Huh? Wait, what? The Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me. But how? The Department of Identification number details are all correct as well. Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say... I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. But that's unbelievable! This is the real thing after all? So wait. Did he really expose himself like that? Okay, that has... So, okay,
Objection!
there we go. I wonder, if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade. Why Miss Lestrade? What is your intention here, Counsel? Is this really a fake, or is it genuine? That's the question. Which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. Oh, that is the boss's. No question about it. It can't be! As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended the Redheaded League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation. So alive! Order, order! But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on at me about it. If you lose something, report it at once, he'd say. Could it be, then, that the inspector was physically unable to report it? Physically... what are you saying? Unable to... You're not suggesting... Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen. No! But, holy cow, though. Order, order, order! The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? I know nothing! I know nothing! Let's all together, Peppino! Mon Dieu! You can't behave like a little more like a master of criminals than that, no? I went to return to Italia! Stop crying, Peppino, please! Otherwise, I stop crying! Look, Lume, stop your whining and start talking! Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story in considerable greater detail. I know I'm nothing! I know I'm nothing! But you will tell us everything, or face the worst possible outcome. You will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstance under which you came by them. For crying out loud. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night, and I think that I died. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day. Just a kiss. We took the man's identification and took him and shot her here in the room next to ours. They might have had a little tussle, but we did not hit him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. He was sounding like a prisoner. Really. Thanks for those, Wolf Boy. Alrighty then. This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man? No, but no. See, no, it was not like a prison. It was very comfortable and calm and happy. Hey, Capo. It was never part of my plan. I swear it. So you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the data for the ferry wrong. I just one a day, a little day. I think it's your fault, Peter. I know it. No, por favor, Capo. It's not fair. You shall have plenty of time squabbling back in the prison, gentlemen. Ugh, I don't believe this. How could I have been a real detective? Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. So on the day in question before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout.
The terrorists we took a prisoner for the night in a secret hideout.
Hold it!
Do you realize what you're saying? You have to believe me, I never intended for that to happen. And I'm sure the detective did not intend it either. Do you think? But there was nothing else I could do. See, nothing else. And the first time to the capo, it was at the end of his bits. I have told you before, Peppino, that is not the way to describe a criminal mastermind. What about the hideout of yours? An old empty house behind the park on Lime Street. We rented the place of 2 days. It was in fact idea, but the couple here. An impulsive idea would say. No, not impulsive, inspired! Hey, couple! What am I supposed to say to that, Peppino? And it was that in that house described that you confined Inspector Gregson, was it? But you have to remember, I was under the impression that he was a potato, not a real inspector. That doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there? No, you're right, but we couldn't be completely certain. Oh boy. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. Oh, frick.
Hold it!
Too scared? Why? Because why had he come to the park? We didn't know. There was a chance he had seen through my plan. And if that was the case, he would have gone straight to the police station to blow the whistle on us. Even if he was just feigning to be an inspector, he was up to no good, without a doubt. I think most people would agree that if you two were up to no good. Well, see, you may be right, couple. The point is, we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoner. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place. See, I asked myself the same question! We were writing down the names and addresses of all the people who took 5 shillings that day. I have forgotten what he said, but the address, it startled me. See, address! Scotland Yard Homicide Division, he said! What? He probably didn't like your face, Peppino. Anyway, I was not rude, I just politely asked him why he had said that. And that's why, when he started to say he was an inspector not long afterward, he took out his identification. What was Inspector Gregson playing at? Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say? See, we did. I'm almost guessing that this wasn't Inspector Gregson, like that it was just someone pretending to be him. But I don't know.
Hold it!
That being this identification book here, correct? See, that is the one. Then, what made you believe it was a forgery? I never seen a real one, of course. But he was so suspicious, it's a man. Allora, that was what I was thinking. It must be false, eh, capo? Oui, it's just as the people have said. We were convinced it was not genuine. And so together, the hilarious brothers took a man captive. All we did was shove him inside a locked room. Then we made preparations to transport all the money. In for a penny, in for a pound. There might have been a little tussle, but we had did him no harm, and in the morning we let him go. What do you mean by a little tussle exactly? Well, it was nothing. Just a minor incident. Like, what happened? Wait, what? Hey, the false suspected he was away in place of work, eh, couple? What happened? It was a disaster. We gave him a nice room, and what did he do? In the middle of the night, he tried to escape through the ventilator. Can you blame him? He chased the bed, sir, and we caught him again. Why am I thinking that this might actually have been... This actually might have been Van Zyke's? I don't know. Can you blame us? Yeah. Wait, you did! Shoot the man in your haste, did you? So, what do you think we are? Of course not! I simply got hold of him again and took him back to the room. Mon Dieu?
Excuse me.
Mr. DeRossi, is something wrong? Me? Something Mr. DeRousseau just said seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about? Capo, at times like that, you don't want to have like a capo after you believe me. I speak from a personal experience, Personal experience? That is enough, Pepito. There is no need to say any more. The night before we put the Redheads in the league back plan into action, I was scared. It was not fair to Capo, but I tried to run away. It's a shame you didn't manage it. But the Capo here, he came after me like a turbine, huh? And he dragged me back to the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it. Hey, Capo. Bruises, you say? Hey, you wanna see, huh? You wanna see my fast and go bruises? That is enough now, Pepito. No one wants to look at any part of you. What to do? I'll just show you I don't. I'll just show you I don't. You do! Now! Hello, if everyone wants to see, then I do it. Wait. Echo, you see? It's still very visible, right? That red ring around your neck? You got that when you were dragged back to the house? See, the capo, sometimes it's very rough, and I said that's enough! I thought that was just a shadow. Like, or just shading, but, Pepino's neck has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. You have my word. Yes. What is your opinion, Counsel? About this red ring around Mr. DeRossi's neck, I wonder, does it matter? It's important. Mr. Rossi, I'm going to have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about that mark on your neck. Aye, Capo? You see? Everyone isn't listening to what I say, huh? Very well. You will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. DeRossi. See, if you really want to know. He tried to escape, but the Capo put the collar on him and dragged him back like he did to me, huh? You see? Are you saying that the red mark was caused by... See, a big collar made from a leather. A leather collar? Is this true, Mr. Rosso? What? We had to say the but not at once. I thought when I was younger. It is a souvenir from that time, with a very strong chain. A strong chain, and you put that around your friend's neck? I'm sorry, I was angry that he was leaving me alone. You did not have to tie the chain into a leg of the bed, though. No, huh? It would not have tried to run again. You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you? Treat the people unequal, huh? That's the capo here's motto, eh? It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden. The capo's tough, but the capo's rough. I shouldn't have done it. So, the following morning when you released the inspector, he had to ride the ring around his neck. That's like me. Peppino, s'il vous plaît, leave it now. Now you know, huh? The capo here, you don't want to tangle with him, eh? But for the inspector, it's not so bad. It's like the night in the last room when there was something like a prison really. You took away the man's freedom. However comfortable you make it sound, you were still holding a prisoner. If you say that, then I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too, the lack of money. So we are the prisoners as well, eh? All of us, No money, no freedom. This is the truth. It makes me mad and it makes me sad. What can we do? Well, if you feel so disenfranchised, take money to court. Though it'll cost you to, of course. Oh, for there you have it. You see, that is why I need the Redheaded League to fight for the justice. Perhaps he has a point. No, Mr. Naruto. Oh yeah, oh he did. I was to give the man a comfortable place to sleep for the night. And you say it was a prison, huh? Huh? Perhaps he has a point again. No again, Mr. Naruto. You should have taken it here. I'm restoring Madai. Everyone was disturbed. It was us. Not much to go on, really. And Tesco does make me wonder, though, you know, about this pocket watch belonging to the inspector. I mean, yes, the one he treasured so much apparently. If he was confined but not restrained as witnesses are implying, then he would still have been able to wind his watch. That's very true. Yes. So did Inspector Gregson actually die when he was being held captive by these redheads? In which case, is it possible that these two young men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's... To be honest, I find that hard to believe. Perhaps we should try to find out exactly what happened. Very wise, Mr. Naruto. Yes. Okay, so... It's time to escape, but look up about the color, and you like them away, like I did to me, yeah? Okay, let's save, just so we don't have to do all this again. And let's see. Well, I don't see a mark around his... Wait a minute. That's the problem. I don't see a mark around his neck.
Objection!
So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was nothing like that. It was not a prison. It was like an invitation to stay. It was an obli. However you describe it, there's only one glaring inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, Counsel? I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there is no red ring visible around his neck. But that makes it all sense! It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning, and I saw the red bruises in his neck just like I have. Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim, who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi. Indeed, that is most peculiar. Well, what do we tell her, Wait a minute. Didn't we meet someone who had a red ring around their neck, though? We said from this from the beginning, many times. Oui, Peppino is right. The man in the photograph is so different from the man who's captive that night. So, what happened? Order! It would appear, then, that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection!
If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself. Here. And we know that the inspector had made a note about the Redheads League in his diary for that day. What surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of a real inspector's identification? Defense have some plausible explanation, Counsel? The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruto, because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. Can we actually see the necks on people? I mean... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, I don't see anything on that. I don't see anything there either. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park to Redheads League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Gracious! Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruto. So why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is you apparently seen? Who exactly is this inspector that appeared before Mr. DeRosso and Mr. DeRossi? Well, an imposter. Though it seems incredible, I admit the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
No. On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, was that right? We can tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the couple drank the bomb to pose with the dog collar. Mon Dieu, Peppino, I was not so harsh as you say. So who was this false inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate. Who do the witnesses encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson? The problem is, unless it's mentioned in the... I don't know. I'm trying to remember who had that red mark. Because I'm pretty sure we met someone with a red mark around their neck. Barry Kaiden?
Take that!
It's surely no secret. This is the identity of the imposter! Oh, really? On what grounds? Well, I said it was no secret, but that part is! Dear me, if ever a penalty was in order now, it's now, I feel. Like it's a punishment, the capital can lend you his card if you want, eh? Roughly, I learned if I need to experience what it's like to be dragged around around the street by the neck. I'll use my imagination, thanks! Dang, Asagi! Man! Okay, Mr. Naha, the red ring produced by the collar is clearly the crux of the matter here. Yes, the bruising around the neck. But who had that ring? Who had that ring around their neck? It wasn't Gregson. Unless I can see it on someone... Wait! Wait!
Take that!
Goodness me! Isn't that one of the witnesses who was in the stand this very courtroom earlier today? A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passersby.
Objection!
What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses, is this the man or not? What has happened to his lip? See, this man is not for the Redheads League, eh? He is looking for the Twisted Lip League, no? Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable facts remain. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck, a red ring of bruising. Eh? What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Order, order, order! Bailiff! Bring the aforementioned witness back to the courtroom immediately. Okay. Yep, there it is. Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical to that of the witness beside him. Now what's going on here, eh? I've always had this be. It's a birthmark, isn't it? Isn't it? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you. Something about the inspector again. What I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it? Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back to on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. DeRosso and Mr. DeRossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have any choice? We are in a big trouble, eh, capo? That is quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. Okay, what is going on? The man who claimed to be inspector that day was definitely not this man. That's right, see, you think we already forgot these grand lips, huh? I never leave Fresno Street, alright? I no interest in any red-headed league. I'm not alone in the world, me. I've no kinfolk. I'm not alone in this world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Doesn't look like I carry off in the skies with a face like this. But how is this? What is going on? It would certainly appear that we have the wrong man. What I've been telling you, is that there's no need for this testimony. That's right, I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I come by a police inspector's identification book, eh? Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but... a brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Very brief. Isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Mr. Nahada. Thanks, Sato. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man.
Hold it!
So you say, but how can you be quite so certain? There is no need to urge your hands on the desk, monsieur. Certainly the reason is obvious, no? Because I have never seen the lips as this. Nevertheless, there's a clear red mark around Mr. Gossip's neck. And it looks very much like that left on the neck of your colleague by your prize collar. Mon Dieu, with your words, it is like you try to wring my neck. It doesn't look very much like my neck though, eh? No, this is birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London and a neck to die for. Aye, they broke me the mold when they made me. For the first time in my life, I feel lucky to have been born with red hair. And I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. So you maintain that you've never seen this man before? Oui, c'est ça. I wish I knew how to pronounce that. I swear to it by the flames of my hair. You know what, I'm just gonna try looking it up. Yeah. Okay. Sesa. Sesa. It's pronounced Sesa. Okay. Like, it's that. Okay. Alright, it literally means it's that. So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair, has it now? Is right, see, you think we really forget the gland to live to like that, like, Like, friend.
Hold it!
Well, yes, I don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry either. That is what I'm saying. For some reason, it makes me want to eat. How the Sapien call it an eclair? You know, I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either. Likewise, I've never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain. See, maybe it's a natural trait, huh? And maybe all the people from this little man's country have a kind of lips. No, lad, I was born right here on Fresno Street, and I've never left. Oh, but that is a problem, see. So you definitely didn't go to the park on Lime Street that day, Mr. Gossip. Now, how many times do you want me to say it, eh? I never leave Fresno Street, alright? I've no interest in a Redheaded League.
Hold it!
So, you heard of the Redheaded League, had you? You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going on in town. I sold that tasty tidbit of it to a few redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got a sandwich to cough up for it. Well, he does have a very red nose, so if that counts, who knows? But as you can see, my own hand's not got a hint of red in it. In any case, Fresno Street's my patch. You won't catch me flying off to some other part of town. No, sir, no likely.
Excuse me.
Mr. DeRosso. Look, can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's word just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park. A small elf or something. Well, to be the headquarters of your Redheaded League, yes? I visited an announcing agent on Lime Street when I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent. What? What? Mr. Gossip with a housing agent? He had some kind of contract and they were clearly discussing terms. But no, you're mistaken, chum. I never left Fresno Street. Me, like I said before, you mistaken me for someone else. Someone with the same face. No, the captain is right. I remember it too. I was paying the man with the banknotes. With notes? Like I said, that wasn't me. I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name of the papers. So what name was written, Mr. Gossip? No, this is a man. He lies. He tells you he has no name. But in fact his name is Hugh Boone, huh? He's better than Mr. Gossip, I think. No! I'm a peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street, and that's that. I don't much like folk talking about my personal life. Indeed, and it's not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of witnesses. Very well, I shall respect your wishes, sir. The aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of this trial, assuming no objections. Objection, though? I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has a very deep significance to this case. Gracious, do you similarly object, Prosecutor Asagi? As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings. Why never? In what capacity? Hugh Boone. The name of the leaseholder of the room. Yep. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking. Well, alright. I suppose that might be the case. Okay. What's going on now? So your real name is Hugh Boone. Well, just be going on, I don't like to blow me on the trumpet, but there's no finer peddling tidbits in town. So I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in a falling down backstreet townhouse. You do? And once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lime Street. I remember now. There were 2 vulgar redheads in there last time. Hey? Hey? If it was vulgar, it's not to me. Think again, Pepino. Why didn't you bring this up before? It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss. You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Boone. If I must. So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for the body, since the body was discovered, has been here under our noses all along. Or rather, under our lips. Aye, I read the room right down where the photo is found. It's true, but for what difference it makes.
Hold it!
So, you live in that room, presumably, do you? No, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed, is there? Just a desk. Then, why would you want to rent it? Well, I don't think I should have to say, really. Then how about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have had access to. No, that board's not mine. The inspector must have brought it along. You know, it's only the other bits and bobs that belong to me. The desk and the chair and that. People don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. The real question is, why was the Inspector Gregson killed in your room? That's what I want to know. Well, obviously, I've not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end to bother, to be honest. I seems to me that Mr. Gossip, sorry, Mr. Boone. Seems to me. Seems to me that Mr. Gossip would rather as little is known about his room as possible for some reason. Yes, it does seem to come across that way, and more importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now. That's how I'm finally going to undo this man. I'm all alone in the world, me. I don't kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that?
Hold it!
You mean you have no family? No, none at all. So I spend my days on Fresno Street peddling tidbits to passers-by. Hoping, just between us, this is that eventually, someone with lips like mine will come along. I doubt to think so. You may be right. Anyway, that mark on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore. Well, what's a fella to do then, eh? If you don't believe me, we're at an impasse. And there's nothing I can do but flick me lip. It looks like I'm not going to get anywhere here unless I can produce some proof. You're basically saying I dressed up and posed as some fancy inspector, aren't you? Well, it's beyond me how you think I could do that. Just look at me. Does it look like I could carry off a disguise with a face like this?
Hold it!
Maybe you could, say, with a mustache, or a beard that covered up the lip. Aye, perhaps. But if I was going to stick some facial hair on the cover up with this fine specimen, I'd end up looking like his lordship over there, wouldn't I? Pardon? I assure you my lips are entirely unremarkable, and I would ask that you not cast such scrutinizing looks in my direction, counsel. So sorry, my lord. My imagination got the better of me there. Well, Inspector Gregson did wear a mustache, of course. You're right, he did. So perhaps he was hiding something himself. He could barely have hidden a crumb in a mustache of that size. And anyway, the detective we spoke with had no official at all. See, the captain is alright. He's alright. Yes, a clean shaven. It certainly seems beyond the realms of possibility that this witness could have disguised himself as a victim. Aye, it is. That's the extent of their testimony, is it? What's your feeling, Mr. Naruto? Well, what Mr. Boone says is undeniable. It would be all but impossible to hide those lips with any form of disguise. Perhaps yes, but nevertheless, the mark around his neck is equally undeniable, and it's identical to the one that Mr. DeRossi suffered. Yes, that's true. But why does this whole disguise idea just keep playing on my mind? Okay. First thought, I'm just gonna go with my first thought and the red hair piece.
Objection!
Okay. The last statement was contradictory in a number of ways, I think you'll find. In a number of ways, you say. And that's right, my lord. In a number of ways. Perhaps it would serve you well to concentrate your efforts on one contradiction at a time, counsel. I made a bit of a mess of that. In a number of ways, actually. Wait.
Objection!
Nope, okay. Okay, that's the thing. Like, his hair looks like Mr. Vigil's.
Objection!
I have no clue. I have no clue. Oh, no, wait a minute, no kinfolk, but he has this.
Objection!
There we go, okay. I'm an idiot. You have no kinfolk, as you put it. Then explain why is it that among the sparse furnishings that we found this photograph in the room? I presume, as you've been running the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Oh, Mr. Boone, drop the pretense, and tell the court exactly who you really are. I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me, please. Just leave it alone. As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing in this case. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Detective Gregson.
Objection!
How can you be so sure? Just look at the man! No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features!
Objection!
But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean? Yes, counsel, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself part of an elaborate disguise. Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face. Would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone? But, witness, are you still hiding the truth from this court? If that's disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be... Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes it can be revealed True Boone's identity to the court. No. Please, no. Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip on the street?
Take that!
Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil? Ah! I don't recall that name, counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil? It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact, is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since that night before the inspector was found dead. Well, of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two Redhead League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial, because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now, just hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea what I'm talking about, really? It's simple enough. It's a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise. No! Please! Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bull at once. Mr. DeRosa and Mr. DeRossi, you will restrain the witness. Oui, my lord. See, my lord. Ah! No! Stop! Get off! No! Uh-huh. Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but... See, there is no question! This is the inspector we saw in the park! Extraordinary! On the day of the Redheads League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson, who appeared before Mr. DeRosso and Mr. DeRossi in the park, was you disguised the inspector, or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison. The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why would you quite possibly have been the future... You could have been possibly the future governor of the prison. What on earth would you have been doing peddling tittle-tattle on the Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years. I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true, I'm Daily Vigil.
And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So, where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from? Boone is the other me. It's a name I invented. Well, evidently there's a great deal underneath the surface here. I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay Prison Warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage, but times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand to selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler. I transport myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room. But that explains it. But why on earth didn't you tell us in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons, and without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead, you decided to conceal your occupation from them. Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to pass a gentleman, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. Very true. To have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment. Loaning? That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I had invented Boone that had become another life on the street seller. He, the inspector, that is, recognized me one day. Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours? I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret? What was it? I was to impersonate the inspector. What? Impersonate him? We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me. Visit Orsi's tomorrow and take the statement from the proprietress. It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially. The Scotland Yard inspector really relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive? That, as I'm sure I know you not point out, is a very serious criminal offense. But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions. Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up a croaker. Oh. In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room, as well. It became something of a second office for him. So,
In fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... you. Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my boon disguise, and then went as instructed to the park armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. But what happened? Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asuki. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered, and at the hands of two red-headed League men when they impersonated the inspector. But no, that can't be! Ow! After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me! Oh goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And must say, Monsieur de la Defense for proving it. What? Ah! Order, order, order! Indeed, it would appear that we reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim. As proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination. Wait!
Hold it!
Huh? Wait, Kazuma? Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? What question, counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago? The execution of the professor, Genshin Asugi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh, answer me, man. One moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case? Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Does the defense concur, counsel? Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. But Kazuma-sama, no wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asugi's last moments. His own father. I know, I do understand that. But even so... Prosecutor Asugi, do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me, please. Very well, then the defense has no objection. I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry, well, 10 years is a long time, but I've forgotten the reason why you left such an important job. Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily, which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry, the human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, deal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, then the memories resurface. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't... Kazuma-sama... But if it must be crushed, then so be it, because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another. Right, now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth, at any cost. My gosh. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? We're probably supposed to, but what happens if we say leave it? If we could genuinely crush the man's spirit, I can't be responsible for that. I don't have the right! Cosmo someone won't rest until he knows, and this is a court of law, where nothing is more sacred than the pursuit of the truth. Sada-san's right. I knew the risks when I took the decision to fight this trial. Whatever the consequences, I can't shy away from my responsibility now. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder by your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't! This is a dismissal notice, ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice. And the name on this notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? What? It's mine? So you didn't resign from the prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as Chief Warder from Barkley. No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Is it? If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal that you have to remember. Oh my gosh. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on 17th June 10 years ago, and on that day, something very serious took place at Barkley Prison. 17th of June. Was that the professor's execution? Professor. As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, that execution never took place! The convict ostensibly executed earlier that day later re-emerged from his grave. Convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness. However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw a convict clambering out of the grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on 17th June 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil. Where's Athena when you need her? Yes, the whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in a cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barkley like a hurricane. What? What? Order! Order! Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned? My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. Like the images, the screams. Oh my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who'd seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Drebber. But surely those reports were exaggerated. There were traces at the scene. Traces of what? Blood? In Lowgate Cemetery, a plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there. The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering. I've reviewed the police records from the time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. Are you suggesting that a prison warder abetted the man's bid for freedom? Yes, and I was suspected of doing it, of using that mass murderous execution as a way to help him escape. Did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is all coming out of me. One evening, days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. I'm sorry, Daddy. This is serious business, but I cannot help you that, you know. As chief warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution of Ford, eh? Well, it seems the fellows at Scotland Yard want to have a few wee words with you about it. You better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend in person. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, Professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. And finished my life. It's over! Ah! Order! Bailiff! Fetch a doctor at once! What the heck? Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect! Uh-huh.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson.
It was Zeeks all this time, oh my gosh.
All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
What the heck? Holy! Oh! Okay. Yeah. Um. Okay. Well, well, um, okay. Next time we'll be going back to another investigation. And, yeah. Whew. So, anyway, uh, thanks everyone for watching. And I see that yeah, I think I'm going to, I think I'll, I think, like, I think we're gonna raid for tonight. Like we'll get going and let's do a raid. So let's raid.